Welcome back to Market Fatafat on ET Now, show where we tell you all the counters that are buzzing either on the back of the news flow or on the back of the technicals. And continuing the same, let me welcome on board our technical expert for the next 30 minutes, and that is Osho Krishan, Senior Analyst, Technical and Derivative Research as Angel One. Very good afternoon, Osho, and thank you so much for your time to ET Now. Let me come to you for your first counter then, that is Kotak Mahindra Bank, and that counter has seemed to be recovering in the past one or so week and now seem to be inching higher. So what's the technical chart looking like for Kotak Mahindra Bank?
Very good afternoon, everyone. Well, looking at the technical charts of Kotak Mahindra Bank, then we have seen a very decent correction in this counter. Starting from the zone of 1950, it has corrected towards 1720, 1740 odd levels. But what we are witnessing in this counter, that it is forming a double bottom formation on the daily time frame. That is a very positive development on the technical chart. So that means from here onwards, we can expect that the stock could rebound from here approximately towards 1860, 1880 should be the first resistance, or can be act as the first target for the traders who are going to accumulate this counter at present. And once it breaches the zone of 1880, then from there onwards we can expect a very strong rally or a strong rebound in this counter towards reclaiming the zone of 1950 in short to medium term perspective.
All right, let's stick with the banking space then, and let's talk about Bank of Maharashtra, because this particular counter is in focus in today's trading session. It was actually trading lower, approximately 7% down to coming in for Bank of Maharashtra. Why is that? Because the bank has revised its capital to risk weighted asset ratio as on March 31st to 17.45% from 18.14% earlier. This after supervisory review, and on back of that, you can see the stock is actually under pressure in today's trading session. It is down approximately 6.5%.
Okay, moving on, and let's talk about SBI then. And Osho, this banking major is also on your radar and seem to be inching towards that 600 mark. So how are you looking at SBI then?
See, off lately, all the PSU banks have been performing very well. And we talk about SBI, then SBI have not performed that much in the recent period of 2 to 3 weeks. But what we have concluded in this counter, that this has consolidated at the 200-day SMA on the daily chart. And from there onwards, in past 3 days, we can witness a consolidation range breakout. So the range was approximately 565 to 580 zone, and now onwards we can expect the consolidation zone as it has been broken. One can expect the zone of 600 to 620 to be reclaimed in a near period. So overall, one should keep this counter in their radar and should be focusing on the buying perspective for immediate target of 620, and on the downside 565 to 570 is acting as a very strong support for short-term traders.
All right, let's actually pull up the charts for Redington at this point in time, because as you can see the news flashing on the bottom of the screen. Remember that today is the Apple huge event, mega event that everyone's waiting for to know what's the new likely announcement. And what we are picking up from buyer agency is the fact that Apple will look to sell the made in India iPhones on launch day itself for the first time. So this is what we're picking up from buyer agency. More details are awaited on basically what they are intending to do. And remember why Redington is in focus, because it's a reseller as well as dealer distributor of Apple products in India. And as you can see on your screen, Redington stock actually recovering from the day's lowest point. No doubt the stock is also under pressure with the rest of the markets right now. But yes, some tad bit of recovery or movement coming in the stock. And what we're picking up for buyer agency is the fact that Apple will look to sell made in India iPhone on launch day for the first time. So watch out for Redington as well on that particular news.
Well, yes, and that's the big event that the whole world is watching out for. Well, let's shift focus to what's happening with the new kid on the block, that is TVS Supply Chain, where the company has come out with its earnings, and this time around the revenue has seen a decline of 12.5%, while their EBITDA is, though it's up 7.3% on a YY basis, and the margins have also seen an improvement from 6.3% to 7.7% on the YY basis. But on to the bottom line this time, their Q1 numbers, if we talk about, then the profit, the loss has now widened to 65.3 crores versus a loss of just 1.8 crores on a YY basis, where the company says that the mix of the business business has shifted towards the higher margin segment, and that the segment contribution has led to the improvement in the margins, but the bottom line is definitely not supported. They have agreed to acquire the equity shares of its wholly owned subsidiary, so that's another update what the company shared in the presentation. But on the back of the weaker earnings, this stock is definitely under pressure and seen to be down about close to 6% as of now.
Right, and that is the reason why the stock is in focus. But also we spoke to TVS Supply Chain management, and let's hear what exactly they had to say on the deal's momentum going ahead.
Look, the global freight rates have kind of got back to where it was pre-COVID. So I think it is probably the right thing to expect the freight rates to be in a very low swing from where we are today. But I think the key here is the volume growth. What we are seeing across the globe, and India is no exception, is the fact that the export has come down significantly in all of the countries, and therefore the trade lanes that we operate in, we are seeing much less uptake in the volumes. And this is a macro. Even if you look at the India numbers, the India economic figures show close to a 15% decline in exports in Q1, and we are hoping that that volume will pick up as we are seeing the recessionary trends fading away in some parts of the Western Hemisphere. So I would say it is not a one-quarter thing, but we are really looking at maybe 2 to 3 quarters when we see the volumes coming back to some level of normalcy.
Okay, we're moving back to the stocks then, and Osho, coming to you, you have picked up CAMS. This particular counter was also showing some good moves in the recent while, and tell us how are you looking at the upcoming move for CAMS?
Have seen a very strong rebound in the current financial year, and since then it has been on the higher highs, higher top cycle formation on the technical chart. But as of now, it is placed at a very crucial resistance zone, which is placed around 26 to 2650. So this zone can be acting as a very strong resistance. But once we breach above the zone of 2650, then from there onwards again we can see the continuation in this counter towards the zone of 3000 in the coming future. But as of now, one should patiently wait either for a breakout or some dip towards 2450 for short-term perspective. If there will be any of the scenarios or any of the cases, then one can expect a strong movement in this counter. Overall, the structure looks very prominent, and from here onwards, one can expect a decent move towards 3000 in either short or medium-term time frame.
Moving on, Vamakshi, let's talk about Power Grid, and why is this one in focus today?
Well, the stock is in the limelight on the back of a couple of factors. The first one being that it has secured an interstate transmission system project in Rajasthan, and this has been secured through tariff-based competitive bidding. They will be setting up a transmission system for the transfer of power from a renewable energy zone in Rajasthan on build, own, operate and transfer basis. So that is the first news flow that is surrounding this counter. But apart from that, the company has is now trading ex bonus today. Now keep in mind that the board of directors had declared an issuance of bonus shares in the ratio 1:3. That is 3 shares for 3 shares of Power Grid. They will receive 1 share, and that is the reason why we did see a very sharp fall in the stock as far as the share price is concerned. But nevertheless, that was mainly on account of the adjustment of the bonus issue. So all in all, given the project that they have secured as well as the ex-bonus issue, the trading ex-bonus, we have Power Grid in focus today. As of now, the stock is reeling under pressure, down nearly 3%.
Okay, moving on, let's focus to what's happening with Tata Consumers. Osho, this counter is what you have picked up. Tell us how the chart's looking like for this one, because in the past 6 months, the stock has already inched up around 25% and seem to be consolidating or rather moving to break past that levels of 870.
So see, basically from the past 2.5 months, the counter has been in a very strong consolidation zone. But looking at the positive development that can be seen, it has been hovering above the 21-day exponential moving average on the daily chart. So overall, structure-wise, it is still having a strong movement or a strong base formation that can be said in this counter. and any breakthrough above the zone of 870, 880 zone can again give a boost for another 60 to 70 odd points movement. So approximately 950 and 940 should be the target that one can expect Tata Consumer to be tested in the coming future. That is on the short term basis. Overall, structure wise, it is very strong, and one should definitely try to gauge the momentum once it surpasses the zone of 880 for the upside target of 950 on immediate basis.
All right, moving on, Ashesha, let's talk about HUL and why is this one in the spotlight. No doubt, I actually saw a lot of brokerages coming out with their comments on this one and what they have to say.
Whole host of brokerage houses have come out with their reports on this one, and on the back of that, the stock is declining over 1.5%. First up, let's talk about Macquarie, which is maintaining its outperform stance in the stock. 2,950 is their target. They say channel checks suggest demand trends for the second quarter will be similar to the first quarter, and volume growth is likely to be in the range of 3 to 4% on a quarter-on-quarter basis, as price cuts continue to drive trade destocking. Meanwhile, Bank of America Securities has maintained its buy stance, but they've gone ahead and cut their target price to 2,875. They say revenue growth may remain soft in the near term, and they expect 4% volume growth on a year-on-year basis in the second quarter versus 3% that we saw in the first quarter. Meanwhile, Citi has also maintained its buy stance, but they've cut their target price. 2,880 rupees is their revised target price. They say consumption trends in the second quarter will continue to remain challenging. So on account of these reports that have come in, the stock is under pressure today. Two brokerage houses have gone ahead and cut their target price. The stock is declining in trade over 1.5% lower as we speak.
Okay, well, moving on, and let's focus to what's happening in the IT space, because all these counters after the start have seen good recoveries, or rather good moves onto the upside, and one such counter on your radar, Osho, is Infosys. This counter is gaining around 1.5% in trade right now. Tell us how are the charts looking like for Infosys, and any more up move that you're looking in this particular counter.
See, overall, from the month of May onwards, the counter has been on the higher highs, but obviously because the market has outperformed, so nobody has given a strong look on the IT space. But overall, there has been a gradual up move. As of now, Infosys has given a major strong breakout around the zone of 1470, which was the previous swing high. So from those levels, it has again moved upward towards testing the zone of 1500, but 1500 being the psychological mark, it again could be acting as a strong resistance. But from here onwards, the trend has been set up on the higher end, and any dip towards 1460 should be acting as a very strong buying position in this counter for the immediate upside of approximately 1560 to 1580 in the near period. So overall, the structure looks very strong, and one should definitely try to either buy on the declines towards 1460 or either above 1500 levels for the immediate upside of 1560 to 1570 odd zone.
Moving on, let's talk about ITI and why is this particular counter in focus. This is the second day in a row that ITI is seeing a spectacular rally. In fact, today the stock has hit an all-time high levels. Remember, yesterday the company announced that they've gone ahead and they have actually launched their own branded laptop as well as mini PC, that's micro PCs, that is known as Smash. They said that they have already got multiple tenders for this particular product of theirs, and it is competing with the likes of Acer, HP, Dell as well as Lenovo. And back of that, the stock is actually seeing a good uptick. Yesterday the stock was rallying in trade. Today as well, 15% uptick, hitting a fresh record high level.
Okay, now let's talk about the auto space, and Maruti is the counter on your radar, Osho. And given the fact that we had so much of news flow for the auto space from the passenger vehicle space, Maruti Suzuki was untouched because of the fact that they don't have any exposure to the diesel vehicles and is moving strongly onto the charts as well. So tell us, what are the next levels that you're watching out for Maruti Suzuki?
See, overall, technical structure for this counter is very strong because we have seen a strong rally from the zone of 9300 towards the zone of 10,200, 10,300 in a very linear manner. Then from there onwards, on the technical chart, we can witness a flat pattern breakout in this counter for which we are expecting nearly 1,800 on a very short-term frame, and apart from it 11,000 can be tested in this counter. And even from short to medium term investment perspective also, it is having a very strong support zone near the zone of 10,100 to 10,200. So even for those who want to accumulate this counter, can definitely buy this counter with a strong stop loss or with a strict stop loss at 10,100 for immediate upside of 10,800 followed by 11,000 zone.
Sees this one headed, and like even Shashi said, this one remained untouched in that actually bloodbath that the auto stock actually saw a short while ago. But I'm actually coming to Hindalco. Why is this one?
Let me first look at the first news flow that has come in for Hindalco. They have signed a technology partnership with Italy-based Metra, and this is to manufacture high-precision extruded products for high-speed aluminium rail coaches in India. Now, in order to make passenger coaches for Vande Bharat trains, Hindalco is actually planning on investing nearly 2,000 odd crores for the project, and the Technology Alliance will provide the cutting-edge technology for this effort. So, on the back of that, we do have Hindalco in focus. But apart from that, we have Hindalco's subsidiary, that is Novelis, that has also signed a long-term agreement with can maker giant Ball Corp for supplies from upcoming plant. Novelis will supply aluminium can sheet to Ball can making plants, and in fact it has also secured all of its beverage can capacity of the upcoming new plant at Bay Minette with well ahead of its commissioning. So given these two news flows, we do have Hindalco in focus, but with the broader markets, the stock is under pressure today, down nearly 1.3%.
Okay, but let's once again shift focus back to the autos then, and Osho MotoCorp is on your radar. The two-wheeler space is doing pretty well today. What exactly are you spotting on MotoCorp?
See, overall, MotoCorp have seen a sloping trendline breakout. In past 3 days, it has seen a very strong up move from the zone of 2990 to 3000 zone. So from there onwards, one can expect a strong rebound in this counter. The immediate target for Hero Moto comes near to 3100, followed by 3160 from short-term perspective. So overall, technical structurally, it is looking very positive. And from here onwards, one can expect a minimal dip towards the zone of 3020, 3010. That is the price where one should try to accumulate this counter for the upside target of 3100, followed by 3160 for short-term perspective. For medium-term perspective, it is still having potential to retest the zone of 3250 zone.
Alright, so that's the take coming on Hero MotoCorp. Ashesha, Havells, why is this one in the spotlight today?
Yes, it is on the back of a brokerage note. Jefferies, in fact, has come out with a note where they're maintaining their whole stance in the stock, but they've gone ahead and hiked their target price. Earlier, their target price was 1360, and now it stands at 1420. They say industrial demand has stayed strong over the last couple of quarters, despite weak B2C offtake, and they expect the trend to continue going forward. They say housing demand too is likely to revive from the second quarter of FY24. Indian AC demand, meanwhile, at about 8 to 9 million units is 1/10 that of China, and hence they believe that the industry potential is huge, and hence they've come out with this note on Havells. They've hiked their target price to 1420. They say Lloyd's sales growth is healthy, but margins continue to be under pressure. They believe capacity expansion of Havells, coupled with softening commodity prices and cost rationalization, will help the company aid margins going forward. So margin expansion is what they're expecting. For now, they're maintaining their whole stance. 1420 is the target. The stock is not reacting much, but on the back of this report that has come in, the stock is in focus today.
Alright, that's Havells for you. That's in the spotlight today. Let's talk about Torrent Power and what that particular counter is doing in today's trading session, because on an intraday basis, you saw Torrent Power actually hit a 3-month high. In fact, we need to take a note that Torrent Power is actually bucking overall market weakness. A lot of power stocks are actually witnessing profit booking take place. The reason why Torrent Power is bucking the overall market trend is the fact that the company has come out with a clarification where they say the members of the promoter group are not looking at pledging their shares. On back of that sort of a clarification coming in, the stock is actually seeing an uptick, in fact holding on to positive territory in an otherwise a weak market, or in otherwise a weak outlook coming in for the sector. So that's Torrent Power for you, trading with gains of half a percent as we speak.
Okay, moving on, and we did discuss about brokerage notes coming in on Indigo, but Osho also has this counter on the technical front. Osho, how are you seeing Indigo right now? It seems to be flirting with those 2,500 odd levels. So tell us more on that one.
Overall, as you have mentioned, the stock has been hovering near the 2,500 odd levels, but the positive outlook that can be seen on the technical perspective, that this has been consolidating in a very narrow zone from the zone of 2,400 towards 2,500. That means the zone is being nearing out towards an outburst, and from here onwards, any breakthrough above the zone of 2,500 will give a strong boost towards the zone of 2,600 on immediate basis. And on that basis, one can even expect a higher rebound in this counter towards 2650 to 2680 in short-term time frame. So overall, technical structure looks good, and here there has been a strong consolidation in this counter. So one can expect a very strong move once it surpasses the zone of 2500 on a decisive manner.
Alright, so that's the take coming in on Indigo, but let's stay put and let's talk about OMCs. In fact, IOC, HPCL as well as BPCL, all of them are actually sulking in today's trading session. And take a look at the stock price, 4% downtick coming in for both of these OMCs as well as IOC. And one of the reasons being that the crude is pretty much stubborn, and it is around the $90 per barrel mark. And with the crude actually crossing also at one point in time the $90 per barrel mark, OMCs now have started facing the heat. ET now has exclusively learned from its sources that OMCs have now again started incurring losses on the sale of petrol as well as diesel. So any hope of a retail price cut on petrol and diesel is unlikely soon. Let me actually take it across to my colleague Prakash, who has all the exclusive details on this particular front. Prakash, what are you picking up from your sources with this regard? And looks like nothing in store for the retailers.
Yes, we are learning from our sources that the oil marketing companies have started incurring losses on sale of petrol and diesel once again. Sources are informing that OMCs are facing losses on back of rising crude oil prices, which have increased to $90 per barrel in international market. We are given to understand that under recovery on sale of diesel has increased to rupees 8 per litre, whereas there is under recovery on sale of petrol as well, which is around rupees 3 per litre. As you are aware that the oil marketing companies have not revised retail prices since April 2022, which has put more pressure on the companies. What we are also understanding from our sources is that OMCs feel that under recovery may increase if crude oil prices goes further high, which is a challenge for the government and oil marketing companies at this point of time. As you are aware that oil marketing companies were making profit on sale of petrol and diesel till mid-July, but now they are facing losses on back of rising crude oil prices. Sources are also informing that the oil ministry has been kept in loop by OMCs on rising under recovery on sale of petrol and diesel at current market prices. Therefore, any hope of price cut in given circumstances without government intervention is unlikely at this point of time. As you are aware that oil marketing companies have registered strong profit in last 2 quarters, but they are maintaining that the accumulated industry losses is still at rupees 1.5 lakh crore.
Well, thank you so much, Prakash, for getting us all those details. So, seems like the slew of losses for these OMCs is expected to continue, and that's why we are seeing no recovery since the start of the day. They are just tanking lower. But with this, viewers, we are completely out of time in this edition of Market Fatafat. It's a goodbye from me and Cheryl, Vamaxi, Ashesha, Osho, as well as Kunal earlier for... and that's a wrap from the team, Market Fatafat. But don't go anywhere because the action continues on ET now, and closing trades will take the action. Thank you.